Hello and welcome back to this Real Talk special live from the University of East London. Coming up, do we really need degrees anymore, as it's been revealed that half of graduates have jobs that don't even need a degree? But first, a new report has highlighted that a third of teenagers get bullied online. Should we look at stronger attempts to control its use? And this week, some MPs have called for racist users to be banned. How could they do that? What do you think? Here's how you contact us. You can email us realtalk@otv.co.uk or send us a tweet at OTV or find us on our Facebook page and let us know what your opinions are there. We've still got Desmond Jadu, community activist from the West Midlands, apprentice star and founder of Link app. May not have got Sir Alan Sugar's money on The Apprentice, but you've launched your business, Lauren Riley, and author and broadcaster David Icke here joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. Let us know what you think about the social networking. I'm going to start with you, David, because you know we all remember the story years ago where you got honestly pilloried in the press because people thought you would say that you were the son of God. You know, all terrible backlash. You were at the height of your career as an acclaimed and respected sports presenter. It was very brave of you to come out with those views. So you know what it's like to get some sort of backlash from the media. What do you think about this whole social networking argument?
Well, I'm getting abuse 25 years later. I mean, I've had abuse over 25 years that make most people run home crying for their mum. But, you know, it's not what...
Well, what sort of abuse?
Well, abuse of many kinds. But this is the point that I would make. I don't like censorship. I mean, the pressure for censorship all over the place is getting absolutely ridiculous. I mean, George Orwell must be shaking his head and said, "I told you so." And I think we need to come to this, from my point of view, from another angle. The greatest fear, or one of the greatest fears that most people have, is the fear of what other people think. And that is massively involved in the way that people get deeply upset by what's said about them online.
Well, did you get deeply upset when people called you
I'll tell you for why. Because I look at it from a different angle. You see, people think that when they open their mouth and they say something about someone, that they're making a statement about that person. They're not. They're making a statement about themselves. And when I see these ludicrous, moronic, deeply imbalanced people trying to hurt people with abuse online, what I say is, you know something, that's really sad. You know why? Because tomorrow morning, that person's got to wake up and remember they're still them.
We'll definitely come back to you, and I definitely want to hear about your experiences on The Apprentice, because I know we've looked at a third of teenagers getting bullied, but I wonder how you, the reaction and backlash of you being on The Apprentice. Let's quickly go to the audience as well, because we're here at the University of East London. It would be great to hear your opinions. Let's go to, we've got the managing director here of The Voice newspaper. A round of applause for him, I think. George, what do you think about this whole social networking, particularly in terms of being the manager director of Britain's longest black newspaper? Should racists be banned from social networking?
Well, most definitely, because there would be another tool in which to, get that message out. I think all of this is down to people's reaction to it. And people have a way of dealing with it. Delete the button, press the delete button, whatever it is, or ignore them. Is how they can do it.
How can we monitor social networking? We're getting a lot of emails from you. Quite a few of you saying, "Well, listen, it's freedom of speech. If you don't like it, don't read the tweet." But you know, can we police it? Let me know. realtalk@otv.co.uk. When you went on The Apprentice, did you get a backlash?
Yeah, I mean, we all did. Before they got to see the show and get to see our personalities, and they just saw a photo and what was admittedly probably a really stupid remark that we'd said to big ourselves up to get on the show, we got a hell of a lot of backlash, and that was everybody. It was indiscriminate, but some of the comments, they were racially based, because that's all they had to pick on was
so you got some racial abuse?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't about being black or mixed race, but it was about my facial features. So features are obviously about me being mixed race, and of course it's very hurtful, because you put yourself out there in the public, but you don't expect to be attacked for what you look like. It's a business show. You expect to be attacked for your business acumen.
But do you agree with David? Perhaps the problem is that we should be re-educating educating people to say, well, actually, if you're getting this response, this is how you deal with it, not the response itself.
You know, I wouldn't like to limit freedom of speech, but I think if it's, I don't even understand why it's a question, to be honest, about why should they be banned. If somebody is racist openly in a public forum like that, of course they should be. If you report that person, why it's so easy for that forum just to remove them.
Because there's been criticism about Twitter not doing enough to stop racist tweets. Particularly, we know the footballer Stan Collymore had a horrendous time about that. Let's go over to Icke, who's a Labour councillor who has got an opinion about this. Will be joining us on the panel a bit later on. Icke.
Yeah. Since being elected, I have received some trolling. Nowhere in any shape or form the way feminists and I guess more prominent politicians and celebrities have, but the few that I have received, it's been terrible because you think it's personal, it's an attack on you. It's been great that I've had a network and people supporting me, encouraging me, telling me, like David is saying, get over it, it's nothing personal. But these 11 to 16-year-olds don't have that. They're isolated, they don't talk to their teachers, they don't talk to anybody because it's something to be ashamed of. And just something that I think is missing in the panel as well, that social media, it's Twitter and Facebook, but it's also WhatsApp. A lot of girls are being told they need to take pictures of themselves, and it's going around Facebook and Twitter like it's a joke as well. And those are the things that need to be addressed. I'm not saying it needs to be policed, but I think we need to be asking Twitter and Facebook to do a lot more to correct those who are misusing a great network.
I mean, for you, David, although obviously you were a teenager when it happened, just to remind people, it decimated your life, didn't it, in many ways, or it stopped your career?
Well, this is actually a relevant point to what we're talking about. What it did was set me free. All that abuse and ridicule set me free. It set me free of the fear that controls most people's lives, the fear of what other people think, and it allowed me to go through that to the point where I don't give a damn what other people think.
But was it difficult at the time? Because you were a presenter, high profile. You do this chat show. They misconstrue that you're saying that you're the son of God. The headlines in the papers were David Icke's gone mad. He thinks he's the son of God. Did it really? It must have been really difficult, surely.
Well, it was incredibly difficult and incredibly challenging, not least the effect on your children being ridiculed at school. But, you know, life so often gives you the greatest gifts, brilliantly described as your worst nightmare. And it gave me so much. And it's so important for people to take their lives back, whether it's on social media or anywhere else, to realise that it's what you think of you that matters, not what other people think of you.
Anyone else? We've got a couple more people in the audience. We're live from the University of East London for this Real Talk special. We still love hearing from you. You can tweet us at OTV or send us an email, realtalk@otv.co.uk. What's your name, please?
My name's Lawrence.
Hi, Lawrence.
Hi. Sitting here listening to the discussion that we're having, I think we really need to be careful. The point really is not about banning these bullies off the social media, but we have to confront them head on. And in my view, part of the solution is already there's already laws that are against, say, inciting hatred or racism. So we do not have to keep piling on other things. So if we ban these people off the social media, so where are they going to go? On the streets? So we ban them off the streets. Then to Mars, where does it end?
Okay, yeah, a very good round of applause, please. A very good point. Where does it end, Lauren?
I'd just like to pick up on David's point. I think you are absolutely right, and it should be about within and self-confidence. But if you were to take that approach, you'll also miss the highs, because one of the things about social media is validation. So you tweet, you know, it could be something superficial like a picture of yourself,
selfies.
And you tweet a selfie and you get lots of positive comments on Instagram. That actually boosts people's self-esteem. Or you write a blog post and people agree with your political or social views. Social media is actually a really positive platform, and it's just about weeding out the minority who are obviously making it a negative place.
One of the things I'm using social media for at the moment is to promote our knife awareness campaign. And indeed, we're installing knife bins all over Birmingham. We're saying we are. I mean, I've got a group that is actually putting knife bins in and dealing with community safety. So it has got its uses. And you are perfectly right. We've got to find out. All Facebook and Twitter have got to do is give the police the trail of these people and let the police deal with them.
But shouldn't? So isn't social networking a fundamental right for anybody, racist or not, to give a view? Are we going to start banning freedom of speech? Let me know. I mean, there's going to be teenagers now this evening who are going to be facing being bullied by friends, by people they don't know. It's going to be happening today. I mean, do you know what your teenager is upstairs in their bedroom? They could be being bullied right now. It's a kind of really it's a very subtle type of bullying, David, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the gentleman's right. I mean, any form of communication can be used or abused, and social media does give an outlet for people with serious psychological problems. So the receiver must take the power back. I keep saying that. But the gentleman's absolutely right. We are drowning in laws. We are drowning in the tidal waves of laws.
Well, let's speak to somebody who's hoping to be a lawmaker. You'll be a Labour representative, Shayi. In this borough, if you get into control in May, if Labour get the vote, what are you going to do?
I don't think we do need any more laws, but it's about reinforcing the laws that do exist, and it's about getting. So there was an example of the Labour MP in Liverpool who was getting anti-Semitic, terrible critiques and threats and all sorts online, and the police haven't intervened. It's about Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, all the apps.
What will your party do, Shayi?
Good question. It's a good question. Let's get them elected and then we can ask them.
No. Real talk. This is real talk, girlfriend. We're talking now. Theoretically, what would you do now if you were in power?
If I could have a cup of tea with Ed Miliband and I could talk to him, I'd want to show him examples of the young girls and some boys in homosexual relationships, or who think they're in a relationship, who are being abused, and get him to see what it's like for 11 to 16-year-olds on social media.
Forget Ed Miliband for one moment. Yeah. Okay. If you were the person in charge, what would you do now?
I would ask Twitter to give them 3-strike warning. So it's similar to Instagram. If you get 3 strikes on Instagram for posting something offensive or rude or whatever it is, you're given three opportunities and your account is banned. It's taken. You can't access it again.
Anyone agree?
Yeah. Hold on.
Can I get any claps? No claps. There's a disagreement there. Sorry, David.
Okay.
Tell her.
I totally disagree.
Well, tell her.
And I say we cannot censor people because they have a different opinion to ours. Yeah. Now, there's a difference between having a different opinion and being rude or racist or abusive. Yeah. So we cannot, it's like, for instance, you have all this thing going on about Nigel Farage and Front National. They just have a different opinion, and we have to confront it head on.
And that's different from young boys posting and reposting pictures of naked 16-year-olds. That's completely different.
Right. Okay. Thank you. We can. I know Lauren wants to speak as well.
I think there are 2 points here. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's negativity is not great anywhere. But if someone's criticising something, everyone is entitled to their opinion. But it's very different from somebody being racist or homophobic. Yeah. That's the stuff we need to stamp out. But what I would do, I mean, obviously the police have their involvement and it should be prosecuted.
The police don't care, do they?
But what I was going to say is actually you need to shift that. The responsibility has to be onto the corporations that are making millions out of these projects, Twitter,
but
Facebook,
what about parents? Haven't parents got a responsibility? Should they be saying, hold on, son, what are you doing? Saying, can I just see, your laptop? You're not going upstairs. You're doing it here.
There is the importance of parental responsibility. And my lads at home, they're both teenagers. They don't like the fact that I'm having a look at what they're doing on the computer, but I do that. But on the other side of the coin, taking on board what you're saying, the situation is this. Anyone that comes to me and there's an issue on Facebook or Twitter, I will make the report to the police on their behalf, and the police will investigate, because the difference is, at the end of the day, from a community aspect, it can blow up, so we get the police involved and let the police do their job.
Okay, well,
two things. First of all, laws already exist. I think we've discussed that already, and therefore we don't need any more. I mean, the Leveson inquiry to put more laws against the press was based on phone hacking, for which people were already being prosecuted. Madness. The other thing is, once you start deciding that you're going to ban someone for this, you're going to ban someone from that, who's actually deciding what crosses the line and what doesn't? You see, there is a difference, for instance, with being anti-Semitic and attacking someone because they're Jewish and challenging the behaviour of the Israeli government. And once you start mixing those and start equating questioning and challenging the Israeli government with anti-Semitism, then you're crossing a line, and you're then starting to become a censor of things that absolutely should be in the public arena.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, it's a very difficult line to cross. What do you think? How should we be firm and say 3 strikes, you're out, as our Labour councillor Shayi has said? Or is it a case of what David's saying? It's a far too subtle argument to sort of divide up discussion. We've got Arit, who deals with apprentices, the forefront, where teenagers are obviously going to be involved in. What do you think? What's your experience?
I think apprenticeships as a route into work or into education, I think it's not an either and or. I mean, I left school with no GCSE.
Well, we're not talking about apprenticeships now. We're talking about the whole thing to do with social networking. And, in terms of like the bullying aspect, are you hearing from your apprentices that is an issue?
I think it goes back to what David was saying earlier. It comes down to how you receive it yourself and whether or not you're going to take it on board as being something personal or not. There's in all things there needs to be balance.
Okay, and have you come back, David? Do you feel you've come back from your career? Like I say, you were that awful, ridiculed figure 20 years or so. People, do you feel your career has come back now? Do you feel as if you're back?
Well, the thing is, if you're saying things that have validity, then at some point they'll be shown to be so. And as the 25 years since then have unfolded, my goodness, is it really 25 years? If they have validity, they'll be shown to be so. And enormous amounts of people now who once laughed are now turning to my work. Why? Because what was in my books years ago is now on the television news.
And you've got a new book coming out, which we'll talk about. We've got to go to a break, but I know you've got your knife campaign, Desmond. If people want to find out about it, how do they get involved?
Go to our organisation website, which is Birmingham Empowerment Forum. Go to there, you'll see the details of the knife campaigns that we're doing in Birmingham.
Lovely, thanks for joining us today. And Lauren, we all need to download your app, make some money for you. Prove that Sir Alan Sugar was wrong, not hiring you as his apprentice.
Of course, but if you want to find out what I'm up to, it's laurenriley.co.uk, and you can see all the various bits and pieces I'm up to there.
Thank you. We've got more guests. I know David is staying with us, and I know you're going to talk about your book, I'm sure. But it's time for a break. Coming up, do degrees matter anymore? Have you got one? Did it help you get a job? We'll see you in a few minutes. You are watching Real Talk.